the Frontenac Islands, July 14th, to order at 10 o'clock. We begin this meeting by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the First Peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the Indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of Frontenac Islands is committed to working with Indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Now, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? Okay, we're going to start this meeting with presentations from Nick Wilson, Client Engagement and Development Coordinator of Global Traffic Group. He's going to be providing the presentation regarding automated speed enforcement. Well,
thank you.
We have voice.
Yes, can you testing? Can you hear me?
No sound yet. Unmute yourself, maybe.
He's unmuted. Looks like it's picking him up. We're just not hearing it.
Okay, give us a second. We keep talking so we can hear you when you start.
Okay, I'll keep testing. Testing, testing.
Nope.
Testing.
Or Samson.
Nick, try again, please.
Sure, yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, there we go.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for inviting me. I'll just get my presentation slides up. Can you see the slide?
No, but we had them showing before. Can we bring up our slides?
Nick, would you like to go through the slide presentation yourself?
Sure, yeah. Right, okay, do this now.
Yeah.
Right, thank you for inviting me. I represent Global Traffic Group. Global Traffic Group provides automated speed enforcement, has provided it across Canada to municipalities for 20 years. In Ontario, we have about a dozen municipalities, townships, towns, and counties that work with us. We develop our own, we're a Canadian company. We develop our own software and our own hardware. We have engineers and programmers working all the time developing the technology. We move on to the full turnkey solution. We offer two different models. One is full turnkey. So under this model, Global Traffic Group, in combination with ESSA Township running a joint processing center, does all the work. You don't need to hire staff to implement a program. Your own staff's time won't be taken up using it. What we provide is everything, the cameras, the software, the processing, mailing the tickets, providing reports to the ministries. It's a complete A to Z of the program. There's no upfront cost to municipalities under this model. The alternative model we have is a la carte, where if you wish, you can take any component of the full turnkey solution. You could say, I just want to lease the cameras, buy the cameras. You can have the processing software combined with the cameras, any combination you like. So that's the second model that we offer. The technology, we developed the technology specifically for Ontario. It's a camera that sits on a pole and it can operate 24/7. And Global will take care of repairs and maintenance as part of the package. We have developed it to be vandal-proof. Vandalism has been an issue of cameras in Ontario. Ours is, we prefer to put it on street lights or street light arms on utility poles. No one's going to take a chainsaw to a utility pole and being 15 feet off the ground. You need to be carrying a ladder to get up there with a paint and vandalize it that way. So we've had no issues with vandalism. It's Canadian made, designed for Canadian weather, down as low as -40 degrees. Privacy, There are no photos taken of people, it's just the vehicle. The data cannot be shared. The oversight of this is by the Privacy Commissioner and the Ministry of Transportation. It can be moved around, it can be left on a pole 365, or it can be moved around from one location to the next as you wish. The processing center, the Joint Processing Center, is operated by ESSA Township. Global provides the software. High-level view of how it works is the camera takes a photograph of the vehicle that is speeding. It has artificial intelligence. The camera sends that data to the processing center. The data is housed in a server inside Canada. That's important, not in America, unlike some companies. The software and the cameras have made a call on somebody being speeding. This is checked by a provincial offences officer. So a human pair of eyes goes over it before sending the plate data to the Ministry of Transportation. The Ministry of Transportation's database returns data about who owns the vehicle and the address of that person. The ticket goes to the vehicle owner because the photograph is not of the driver. Therefore, there are no demerit points. It doesn't impact insurance. The vehicle owner can then contest the ticket or pay it. So that's the basic processing center. Administrative penalty system. The provincial government 2 years ago decided that he wanted to unblock the courthouses and remove a lot of the minor offences, such as speeding, out of it, and encourage municipalities to set up their own administrative penalty centres. The penalty is the same as a fine. The only difference is, from a point of view of a vehicle owner, you no longer have to go to a courthouse, which is inconvenient at the time given to you by the courthouse. You'll get your resolution done a lot faster. Within 2 weeks, you get an answer. It's done online, so you say, well, if I got a ticket, here's the evidence in the ticket, and here's the website to go to ask more, or to book a screening, and then you meet a screening officer for 30 minutes at the time that you choose, during your lunchtime or from the comfort of your house. And then if the screening officer upholds the ticket, it goes to a hearing officer. And then the hearing officer may say, no, you have extenuating circumstances, for example. Perhaps you were driving your sick child to a hospital and that's why you're speeding. They can uphold the ticket or they can quash it. This information then goes to the Ministry Attorney General and the Ministry of Transportation. The municipality has to provide monthly and 6-monthly reports. Global software does all the work on that. So that's a very high-level view of administrative penalty systems. Global traffic counters, these are our proprietary technology. The left-hand column shows 30-minute intervals during a day, and then going left to right, you see days of the week. Where you see a red cell, that means there's a lot of speeding going on there. Where you see a deep blue cell, there isn't that much speeding going on. So these often they show patterns. You'll see people commuting. There's a lot of speeding offences taking place in the morning and then again in the evening, or maybe at the weekends with tourists coming into town. We have a data-driven program. So this justifies why cameras are there in the first place. It shows the success of the program as these heat maps turn from red to blue during the program. On the website, because transparency is very important for public buy-in, full transparency about the program, we provide this. Our IT team provides these maps that would go on the municipality's website using your branding. This one is from ESSA. It shows where the cameras are. If someone's curious about the program or want to know where they are, or if somebody's had a ticket from one of these cameras, they can click on the dropper to find out more information. This will give you a bit more about the details of the zone, the community safety zone, where these are operating. Cameras can only be deployed in community safety zones, which are designated by the municipality. And then here you find more data as to, well, why was a camera there in the first place? Perhaps there's a vulnerable population like a school or a senior centre, or there's a lot of speeding going on. So that is a very high-level overview of Global and what we offer. But I would also add that our programs are customizable. So we're the contractor, you tell us to jump, we ask how high. And for examples of how a software can be customized is if you say, well, okay, you determine the trigger speed. At what speed will tickets be issued? Because nobody wants to be issuing tickets at 1 kph or 5 kph over the limit. So you determine, well, is it 10 kph over the limit? Is it 15 kph over the limit? You determine how many tickets are issued in a day. Maybe limited to 1 per vehicle per day. Some municipalities do 1 per week. You might not wish to issue tickets on Christmas Day, for example. So all of these are things that we can put into our software. Or if you're protecting a school, you could say, well, in the morning, really early, between midnight or 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., well, there's no kids in school. So just have no tickets issued in that time frame. The program is entirely customizable. You can move cameras around as you wish. You can have as many cameras as you wish. You can add things to the program over its lifetime, such as red light cameras. And as I said, you determine the business rules under which we operate. That is pretty much an end of my presentation, which leaves time for questions.
Thank you very much. Go around the table. Councillor Jablonski, any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Nick, thanks for the presentation. One fast question, these camera locations that are in different areas right now, are they based in the heavy populated areas like, recreational areas, hotels, or are they more residential?
They vary a lot from municipality to municipality. Some of our townships are very rural, and they have a lot of rural speeding as people are going to a factory from leaving, for example, Bayry to pass through a rural township to get to a factory on the other side of the township. So that's just a rural road. There have been people running stop signs in rural areas. And then we also have cameras in very heavily populated urban areas in front of schools and various zones or intersections where the police report there are a lot of high collision rates. So we have across the complete spectrum is the answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, just to build on that question and build on your answer, actually, you indicated that it could go on rural roads, but during the presentation, you said that it needed to go in a community safety zone.
Right, that's correct. The municipality, if you don't already have community safety zones, can create them, which are based on entirely at your discretion, your criteria. And criteria include, is there a lot of speeding going on there? Have there been collisions there? Some of the rural roads I mentioned, there were high collisions at an intersection. So is there a vulnerable population there? Is there an area where pedestrians are walking and there's no sidewalks? So there's a lot of criteria which Ontario Traffic Council provide a really good check sheet of that. So it's whatever criteria that you and the police or whoever you work with determine. Global can certainly go there and help you determine levels of speeding.
Thank you.
And then you'd have to create a community safety zone, and it can only be deployed in an area where the speed limit is below 80 kph. Given that nobody has a 79 kph limit, de facto, that means 70 kph or below. Some municipalities have changed the speed limits in order to deal with this.
Thank you very much. Councillor Holden?
So my only question would be, obviously, what size of fine? How much did your company take? What did we get in the end out of the fine?
Yeah, excellent question. I was talking to a municipality the other day, Belleville, and they said that their average fine is $100. The fines they're set by the province, and they're on a scaling basis. So as the number of kph over the limit that you are doing increases, then the fine increases in proportion with that. So in the case of Belleville, I said the average fine is about $100. The global traffic, the amount that we take is, if you wish to go ahead and explore further with us, if you wish to instruct your staff to go ahead and continue talks with us, then we would ask you to sign a memorandum of understanding. There's no commitment in that, but it does protect pricing confidentiality. This is obviously a public meeting, and for competitive reasons, we wouldn't want to share it here. So if you wish to go ahead and explore further with Global, we can give you the costs of that. The current system that I'm assuming you're using the court system. You'll, out of a ticket, there will be court processing costs. Then you will have the hosting city takes a proportion from that, and then you would get what is left. In the case of administrative monetary penalty system, all of that money goes to your municipality. So then the split is, it's so how much is it costing to pay Global to put a camera in there? And also ESSA and which is providing the processing center.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have a ballpark on like,
No,
the municipality get 20%, 50%, what?
no. I mean, it's a no cost, it's no upfront cost model. I can share that with you, but no, I couldn't give a ballpark on that.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Ackley?
I had the same question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Going back to the 79 being your limit in a rural setting. We've had experience where people are speeding far beyond 79 kilometers an hour. And so it sounds like the system would not be applicable for anybody that comes over with their Lamborghini and tries to launch it into the air.
I need to explain that better. I didn't give a particularly good explanation there. The speed limit, you cannot deploy ASE in an area that has a speed limit of 80 kph or above. So if somebody is speeding down a rural road where the speed limit is, say, 90, then no cameras cannot be deployed there, unless the municipality wishes to reduce the speed limit in order to create a community safety zone there. It's not the speed the vehicles are going at that determines whether tickets can be issued. It's the speed limit in that community safety zone. Cameras can only be deployed in a designated community safety zone or school safety zone, and the speed limit in those zones has to be less than 80 kph.
Okay, and on that note, you also mentioned Ontario Traffic can help in the definition of community safety zones, but I have attended a conference where it was lectured that these very strict rules in Ontario as to where you can actually call a community safety zone, near cemeteries, near churches, near schools. It's very
There
limited.
are guidelines from the province, but it's at the discretion of the municipality as to I mean, there are you're correct. I mean, there are recommendations around that, but it's the criteria that you use is entirely for yourselves. If you say based on purely there are a lot of collisions here, then that's one reason for having it. If you say there's speeding issues here, that's another. If there's a vulnerable population, then all of these different criteria can be applied. It's you produce that list of criteria as to why you're creating community safety zones.
Okay, and going back earlier, you mentioned about the fine being processed. What if they choose not to pay the fine?
Well, excellent question. The Ministry of Attorney General runs, because unlike other bylaws, for example, parking, there is a victim component element of the fine, and the Ministry of Attorney General collects that. So they have the DFCC, the Defaulted Fines Control Centre. So if somebody is not paying a fine, then the Ministry of Attorney General computer system talks to Ministry of Transportation, which will not issue either a vehicle registration or a license to an individual. So then the person who has failed to have this documentation updated has to go to Service Canada to pay. So that's their mechanism for enforcing it.
So what about for people that are out of province? In other words, we have a high tourism count here from both within Canada as well as the US.
That would require an agreement between the province of Ontario and the province or the state in the US where the people are coming from, because both parties then would have to agree to enforce their enforcement mechanisms, whatever it is, taking the money out of the payroll and exchanging that data. Because, just say someone from Quebec, then the Quebec Ministry of Transportation's database needs to send that data and the information to Ontario and vice versa. That agreement isn't in place at the moment.
So your company doesn't take care of that piece for the negotiation of these others.
We could take care of it if the if that were in place. Our technology allows us to do it, and we've done that in Alberta with the neighboring province of Saskatchewan. We're under a program run by the RCMP. So our technology has the ability to do it, but we cannot do it at the moment without that framework being in place of different provinces with Ontario.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions. Any further questions that have been raised? No? Okay.
Mayor, if I may.
Mhm.
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Councillor Patrick, council thank Nick Wilson, Client Engagement and Development Coordinator for Global Traffic Group for his presentation regarding automated speed enforcement.
All those in favor? Here, thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you.
Hey, that was some very good information. Just for a bit of background, that company sent an email to me, I forwarded it on to the CAO. And there is another several companies, I don't know whether they made it or not, they work with the Association of Municipal Organizations, LAS. And they have also provided that service and that sometimes on these spaces, et cetera, but this is something to look at. So any further discussion by any councillors on this topic? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda. We will have the adoption and a receipt of the minutes for June 9th council meeting. And the council meeting of public meeting of June 23rd.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the June 9th, 2025 council meeting minutes and the June 23rd, 2025 public meeting minutes be adopted as presented or amended, and that the information items be received and filed. Are there any specific information items that any member of council wishes to discuss further?
Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're at the information items.
We just received and filed this.
We didn't read it.
I asked if any member of council wished to have any one of those items pulled out to speak.
Okay, I only asked about the minutes. And that I did not get to 4.2, which is the information items, where there's several that I'd like to put up. So.
Go ahead.
Okay,
We've already received the file, or we already passed the motion.
would you read the motion again then, please?
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the June 2025 council meeting minutes and the June 23rd, 2025 public meeting minutes be adopted as presented, and that the information items be received and filed.
Okay, that's the part that I missed. All right. Then it would have to take an amendment to go back to that at this point in time, correct?
If the majority of council wish to go back and discuss any information items, it's up to the will of the council.
Okay. Would anybody like to discuss the information that include the letter from Big Sandy Bay food truck? Minister of Rural Affairs, anything of that nature? Councillor Jablonski,
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Councillor Holmes,
I don't have anything to pull, but somebody else does, I'm fine.
okay, Councillor Radcliffe, Councillor Saunders,
I think I guess the interesting the third question is anybody gonna put a motion on to amend the motion? Is that what you asked?
Madam Mayor, you're not looking to do anything with any of the information items, you just want to discuss them, like you're not
Correct.
looking for any action.
correct,
So the motion's not going to change, we're still going to receive and file the information items. It's just if council wishes to. If the majority of council is fine with the mayor pulling any items out, or if any member of council wishes to have any item pulled to discuss separately.
okay, and maybe I can frame it as what I'd like to see pulled. June 5th, there is a Warrior Health Grant, and I was wondering whether or not There had been an application made, and whether we qualified under public safety organization for our firefighters. To assist with counseling and things of that nature. Also on June 5th, I want to know whether or not we applied for the health and safety water stream grant. And whether admin can provide training for council and myself for the Midas system. And did we respond to the R Care survey on July the 9th or promote it? And on June 26th, AMO. There's a Rural Ontario Development Program that opened on June the 24th to September 24th, and I want to know if we will or have applied for anything. Last has road and sidewalk assessment from City Logics. And that is relevant potentially. Ducks Unlimited had resources available to the municipality, and I wondered if that could be applied towards Big Sandy Bay issues. And July 3rd, did we provide feedback for the equity focused population health approach to gender-based violence prevention, which closed on July the 4th. And then there's a letter from Big Sandy Bay of concern and a letter about the food trucks of concern. And I wanted further explanation on the technical service for communal regarding the fire requirements that they mentioned, and any elaboration that Councillor Holton might be able to provide. But I think there's quite a few things that might help this council, but I need to have support of the majority of council to pull these. And I will say in the future, I'd like to have the minutes read separate and apart from the information items, so there isn't a confusion that way. Because they are separate bullet points.
But it's all listed under consent agenda. So those two items are listed under consent agenda. So you do one resolution for consent agenda.
As I said, I prefer if it was separated. So is there any will of the council to speak to any of these items? Councillor Jablonski.
Nope, I'm fine.
Councillor Holton.
Yeah, I'm good with it. If we want
Yeah.
to speak about it, we can go ahead.
Okay, Councillor Ackley.
I'm given.
Good what? Good to speak about it?
No, I'm just, good the way it is.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Saunders.
No, thank you.
Okay, so we haven't got a majority, and I guess none of that will happen. Okay, now we're at staff reports. Administration report number AD 013-25, purchase of replacement light bulbs for the Wolfhound baseball diamond.
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Holton, that administration report number AD 013-25, purchase of replacement light bulbs, Wolf Island Ball Diamond infield be received. And that council direct staff to fund purchase first through any operating surpluses in the CCD budget, with any unfunded amounts to be funded through a transfer of the CCD reserve. My report is before council, brief background for everyone. It was brought to staff's attention last week that some of the light bulbs, which are 25 years plus, need replacement. And it's just the one ball diamond, it's not all three. The lights are very specific in the direction and everything to which they point. Due to the age of the bulbs, they need to be fabricated. They're not something that you can just go in and to purchase. So I've worked with our treasurer Jesse Collins with regards to funds for this, and it's before council today.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thanks for putting the report together, Vanessa. One fast question, I see light bulbs are here. Being an old electrician myself, is curious, does that include the ballast usually uses a ballast that initiates the spark, a light on those light bulbs? I don't think they actually just screw right into the light. Or are they screwed into a normal mobile base, but I thought it's usually some type of system goes with it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, if I may, to Councillor Holton.
Yeah, if I could, that's exactly the problem. They put in light bulbs because just they're clear, but that's the problem, the ballast and everything are gated. And you can't buy parts anymore for the present lights, so he's going to have to redo some of the lights and save some of the parts for other lights, so.
So just my own clarity, so it's lights and ballast, it's a whole shebang, make it work.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's everything. So that, 14,453, is the lights, the ballast, the, installation and the rental lift.
thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Counselor Hilton, any questions?
Yeah, so just, I mean, it seems like a lot of money. You forget, I guess it was 25+ years ago that they were put up. They got damaged in the wind this winter, some of the covered parts come off them. And then, when they went looking to see, thought it might have been just, replace the parts, can't get parts for them, so. I know it's kind of only for one big event a year, but it is our biggest. The ball tournament's gonna go in 38 years. And, it does generate quite a bit of revenue for the community center, so. I think, I don't like spending the money, but I think we have to do it.
Okay, Counselor Ackley?
Again, yeah, if it's there, we should fix it. You know, it's not like we can afford to replace the whole ball diamond and whatever else, so they need lights to play, they need lights to play.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Saunders?
Mayor, on principle, I think we need to maintain our assets. So maintaining our assets requires some funding. It sounds like these are well past their normal lifespan. I would be in favor of upgrading, and I'd be in favor of the report.
Okay, I see in the report that the community center has a reserve balance of 128,000, so the monies can easily be afforded out of that. But as they pointed out, these lights and fixtures are 25 years old. Why wouldn't we be going to more energy efficient lighting system on that particular diamond and have a systematic approach that eventually the next time we have a problem that it affects the next diamond that, but just fabricating and reinventing the wheel for 25 years ago technology doesn't seem to make sense to me. And second to that, I wonder about the procurement policy. Has that been followed for this?
Yes, ma'am, it has.
Okay, and going back to the technology piece.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's something certainly we can look forward to, look into going forward. As you indicated, there are some funds in the, reserve for the community center. It was just a matter of, this needs to be done now, and we can develop a plan going forward.
So have we investigated any alternative to the new?
Not at this time, though.
Through you, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
looking at an alternative, I'm thinking we'd be looking at replacing the entire lighting system, which would be a significant cost. That's obviously something that can be discussed at budget time, and it's probably, something worth discussing, within the next 5 years. But again, this is just to address the current issue we have. As far as I'm aware with this discussion, all the other lights are working fine and perfectly. This expenditure gets us up to the point where it's working as intended. Again, if we had to replace all the light bulbs, I agree, it's worth taking, a look at everything, but right now, it's just a few that need to be replaced.
So who's doing the manufacturing of this so that it can be done so quickly in time for August 1st?
I apologize, Madam Mayor, I don't have the invoice here in front of me. Councilor Holton, are you aware of the company?
No, it's Joy Electric, and he said he found them in the US. My understanding is that he's going to be putting new on a couple of the poles. So it will be new technology on there, and then just save what parts you can to keep the rest going.
Okay. Well, that answers my questions. Any further questions for anyone? All those in favor? Okay. Now we have. Oh, you want to read the resolution?
I did,
Okay,
just,
good.
yeah.
Yes, I'll make sure on that. Administration report AD 014-25 quit claim report.
Moved by Councilor Holton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that administration report number AD 014-25. Authorization to execute quit claim deed or park water lot to Barrett Bay, Wolf Island be received. And further that council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a quit claim deed on behalf of the corporation of the township of Frontenac Islands for lands described as part water lot in Barrett Bay, opposite of lot 2 and lot 3, Center Street, Plan 26, being part 3 on Plan 13R 23-340 Wolf Island. I've prepared the report. It was brought to my attention by the solicitors acting on behalf of the for the sale of Fargo's. When I had brought up before council to declare that portion where the old fire hall was as surplus, on our GIS mapping, there, it does not indicate a part 3 on there. So when they were going through title and did the survey and everything, it outlined this part 3, which is attached to my report. It's a very small piece that we would not be able to do anything with. So staff recommending that council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the quitclaim deed.
Okay, questions, Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Director of the CO. Can you explain the quitclaim deed is actually, as I understand it properly? I tried to, I looked at the definition, I still don't quite get it, so.
So it's kind of layman's terms, it's just very easy to, like, it's a quick thing that probably a quick claim would be more definitive, easier to understand. But there's no contentions or anything like that to it, it just, you know, both parties agree and, you know.
So switch to here or there, it's done. Okay, all right, thank you, thanks for the definition.
Okay, Councillor Holton?
Yeah, I think we're gonna run into a lot of these over the years in the village. It's kind of messed up lot lines and everything. As lands turn over, we're gonna run into more, but I think we need to do these to get clear title to the people.
Okay, Councillor Ackley?
So lot 3 would be taken over part 3? Is that what this is?
No, it's just part 3.
Yeah.
If you look at the map
Yeah, I
attached,
see
that
that.
what I've highlighted.
Highlighted.
Yeah, it's just a very small portion. Like I had indicated, it's,
So who's gonna own part 3?
so the new owners of Fargo's, it would
Oh,
go
okay.
to Fargo store. yeah.
Oh, okay, that's. Okay, I just want to be clear on it.
Yeah.
It's getting much.
Just to build on that question,
Yeah,
it's not that they can then sever this off from that property at any point in the future and that because they own the other piece that was where the township had the fire hall as well, so.
It's 2 separate parcels anyways.
But is it now going to become one parcel in that
yeah.
if it's a quit claim? Because it's going to be under 1 acre, et cetera, and that, and I think Councillor Ackley has a valid point. And that, does this go to the Fargo sale and it becomes unsettleable?
They're all one entity now. Like they're all one.
They are all one entity, but there's 2 still very separate parcels.
Oh.
So where the old fire hall was, or at least this is my understanding. Even though it's the purchasers that bought Fargo's, it's not under the corporation's name, is my understanding.
So who is this going to? Is it going,
It's going to the purchasers who bought Fargo store. So whether it's, I'm not sure if they're doing it under Blue Moose or if it's under Kate and James, but they are the ones that purchased the old fire hall property, and this would go as part of a quick claim to that person.
It'd be with the fire hall.
no, that's what, no, the fire hall we just indicated was separate and apart.
Part 3, is my understanding, would go with the old fire hall.
Yeah,
So there's,
but Fargo's property would stay as it is.
yes,
The fire hall property that they got purchased or whatever it was, the figure. Would go with this part 3, so that would make that property a little bit bigger.
Okay, correct.
Okay.
No,
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Mayor. Approximately, very rough approximation, how much area is this? Is it in half an acre? Okay, so thank you. I don't need any more detail than that. The others that I note here, there's no road access to this property, right? So it's somewhat landlocked?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think my question got answered, and that to the best of your ability, and that this part 3 would go with the fire hall piece. And it remains a separate lot that the Fargus store could use or sell. Correct?
Yeah, whatever they intend to do with that personal property.
Right. Very much. Okay, any further questions? All those in favor? Carried. Now we're at administrative report number AD 014-25 FNSC shareholders agreement.
Moved by Councillor Duanke, second by Councillor Ackley, that administration report number AD 015-25 authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into a shareholders agreement be received. And further that council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into a shareholders agreement. Frontenac, and the county of Frontenac and Frontenac Municipal Services Corporation. So, CAO Farrell has presented the shareholders agreement to the county council. North Frontenac has presented theirs and signed theirs. I did not do an additional report because CAO Farrell's very explanatory with regards to the reasons, the shareholders agreement, so it's before council. I would look for first and second meeting today and third and final at the September meeting. Pending any questions or other direction from council.
Okay. Councillor Duanke.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm honest directors of the rest of the mayors right now, and I'll be honest, based on what we're going to, how our construction will look in the next 10 to 15 years, we're jumping in off the early on this, to be quite honest. We're jumping in off the early, we're jumping in something that has not been proven yet. We have a very small stake in this right now because our population is so small. I'll be honest, I feel nervous being part of a newly developed system, I mean, old technology, but new application. I think, judging by the building department too, we're still at least 10 years out from anything being built on Wolf Island. I think we're jumping this a little bit too soon. I know it's only 10,000 a year over the course of 5 years, but it is $50,000. And again, on technology hasn't been applied on this type of idea you're looking at. I'd rather see us wait for a bit, have them do a couple of these projects under the belt, get the bugs out of the system, and then look at entering an agreement then, or if we want to do it ourselves, we can do it then. There's been no beneficial cost if we hook up and say, oh, it's Marysville time, let's pile a bunch of money that way. It doesn't happen that way. What also was very concerning too, as I found last time, the directors are personally responsible for any kind of follow-up, so that wire should go bad and someone gets sick. I don't know about you guys, but I put my name onto a lot of things, and one of them is not going to sacrifice my house and my belongings because someone else made a mistake. So from my point of view, and I know I found myself beneath the bus here, this is too early for us. Simple as that. It's too early for us. If we wait, get Verona done, get their next project done, oh, get the bugs out, get it working properly. And then see, okay, now we can maybe have that, oh, we have a developer interested. Now we can jump in, look at, there's no proprietary over these systems. We can go to Clearwater and buy ourselves one day and learn from the mistakes from Verona. So we can actually do it a little better next time we want to do it, but we're not, in my own personal opinion, we're not ready yet for development of sound. This application for our town, I don't think it's feasible at this point too, because of the costs involved to actually do this type of work. And then it'll be lovely water and sewage in this town, but we just don't have the simple finance to make that work. Simple as that. So I think we're jumping in too soon. My recommendation is great. Good luck to the team, but I prefer if we waited to get that assistance agreed.
Okay, just for clarity's point, are you saying then that you're resigning or prepared?
No, I'm not resigning. I put my time in. No, if I committed, I don't just walk away from something. I'm just saying, in my own personal opinion, at this point, we're jumping in too soon. I'll finish my stretch that I've committed to. Anybody would be crazy enough to do that, but I'm just saying. You want to sign your name to something that makes you personally responsible to, but could be an accident like Waterton, that you're willing to put your name on the line, take the responsibility. You be my guest, I'll stand down, you step up to the plate and give it. But I am not gonna put my house and my name on the line because someone else makes a mistake, even with due diligence. To the nines, you are still responsible. End of story. So no, I'll finish my term, I always promise that. But I'm just saying at this point, I think we're throwing money ahead right now, we should have been saving for something else in the future.
Okay, Councillor Holton?
I share a lot of concerns that he does. I think we're quite a ways out from needing this. That said, I don't know really exactly, I think we committed to 5 years of funding to help at the start. I've been pretty adamant any meeting that I said I don't want, as a township, that we should put any more money into it. But I think it's one of those things, I guess you get in now or you don't get in, so that we need to decide. I think we're already committed to a couple more years of funding for it, regardless of whether we sign or not. That would be a question maybe we need answered from the county, but that's all I have on.
So perhaps our lawyer, since it would have been an agreement signed, right? Clarity?
I think we can find out from the county or the board what our commitment is, so.
Councillor Acker?
Again, I'm with Councilor Dubois. I just feel that, yeah, if I'm gonna be legally bound to something and lose my entire life that I work for something because somebody stroked the wrong dot, crossed the wrong T or dotted the wrong line and made a serious mistake and it's gonna cost, somebody could get really sick and I'm just not in favor of this.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank Councillor Yablonski for his thorough explanation of the situation at the board basis and decisions they'll have to make. I guess a question first of all, perhaps, member through you to the CEO. The current agreement for 5 years at $10,000 each, that's separate from this total, right? You're still committed to that?
It's true, you, Madam Mayor, so that's what Councillor Halton was inquiring about.
Okay.
As to, we've already paid 2 years, we would be committed for another 3. If we pull out of the Frontenac Municipal Services Corporation, are we still responsible for that $10,000 a year commitment?
Okay. So we're not clear, right? So. My fear is once we're out of this, we're out. And there's still a lot to be learned, a lot of issues to deal with. I guess at this point, I'd be in favor of actually signing this with some more information. On the basis that we need to keep our foot in the door, because if we get out of this and it comes back later that it's something we should be looking at, we'll be starting from ground zero. So that's kind of where I am.
Okay. I had concerns regarding the distribution of the shares. Right from the get-go, and I do understand that it was decided to be on population base. That being said, South Frontenac, that is the furthest down the road with this project, has the majority of share based on population, with the county voting with them. Basically, all the control is truly with South. Even if the other three municipalities voted with the county in that, it would be problematic. Because the county would like, South Frontenac would likely sway the county a little. So I feel like we're a passenger in this project, so I do have trepidation as well. I think we need to get the answer back as to what happens if we don't sign this. Because to my mind, and that the funding of 10,000 a year, if it has to go on to 2028. May or may not allow for any escape clause, but if we're of that opinion, and as Councillor Jablonski, who has taken that role, indicates. He's not comfortable, and being sitting on that directorship, he is personally liable. As long as we're part and parcel of this group. So I think, A, we need to find out if we can get out of even paying the $10,000, and B, since Councillor Jablonski and Councillor Halton have been the two most intimate in the moving forward of this project. I did the research when it was coming through, but I'm not part of those boards. So I don't have that firsthand knowledge, so I'm gonna rely on their take on that piece. That sort of goes along with my gut. And and I agree that there's nothing that should be able to block us at any point. If we want to investigate municipal water and or sewer for the municipality here of Marysville. And that, because that certainly is the only concentrated area in that. And the whole concept of the secondary plan and us piggybacking onto a developer that may never happen for 25 years doesn't alleviate the problems that we have right now. So if we're going to do a vote on it, doesn't sound like it's going to be good, but
So through you, Madam Mayor, then if I may, depending on if a member of council would like to put forward the amendment, we would keep the first paragraph, which is just simply receiving the report. Council can strike the second paragraph and put in whatever wording it is that you wish. Whether it's to, I'm just trying to think of the appropriate wording, that council directs staff to, reply back to the Frontenac Municipal Share or Services Corporation, County of Frontenac, with regards to, financial commitment for the remaining 3 years. And for the information.
what would be the disadvantage of just having a vote that this may get defeated and then providing directions to staff to find out more information?
Well, because I don't want to defeat the motion, because you're gonna have to receive the report, that's my point.
That's the only point.
Yeah,
And
so,
leave everything else as coming as direction of staff.
yeah, so we would strike the second paragraph,
Yes.
and that council would direct staff to bring back further information with regards to our financial commitment.
Counselor Jablonski, would you like to create a motion in that regard?
Sure, point of order, Madam Mayor, would a simple motion to defer any additional information accomplish the same thing?
Yeah,
So we could just defer and,
defer to.
rather than edit.
So maybe like maybe just defer so we can ask that to find out if we are actually financially responsible for the 5 years to see if we can get out before that point.
So defer decision to the September meeting, pending information from staff.
If we are obligated to go on for it, yeah. Something wrong with that.
Do you feel if we found that we were obligated, that we should vote in the affirmative of this at this point in time, because this permits us further?
If we are obligated, again, I feel bad for the next people running for council because we are obligated, someone's gonna put the name on the line. That's something we signed a life for if something should go wrong, you almost scheduled to start. In a year and a half from now, around there somewhere, is about right? which makes my timing actually perfect. But that person coming in may not be.
But
Yeah.
so with that, we have two options at this point in time, with two options. One is to defer to September. One is to strike the second paragraph and just receive it for information. One is to vote on it and potentially defeat or pass it. So is there a seconder? Oh, Councillor Holton.
I would prefer that we deferred it and give staff direction to provide us more information on funding and I guess at this point in time, it sounds like we need to see if there's any implications if we do get out. Right, so if we could get a little bit more clarity on that, and we'll defer the whole motion until September, I would be happy with that.
You'll second, Councillor Saunders'
Second,
motion to
Councilor
defer,
Saunders' motion.
and we'll vote on that case third. Correct? Okay. So any further discussion on deferral? Cool.
I just believe that if we don't vote on this and win or lose, I don't know how to put it any other way. If we do go through it, we're all liable. So I'm just not feeling the love here that this is a good thing to venture into, you know. And is it beneficial for us on the islands? No, not really at all. We're not ready for it. So at this point, you know, I think we should be jumping ship.
Okay,
Madam Mayor, if I could speak to that.
Yes.
Motion, this motion just defers it, we can still have that conversation. This is not making a commitment on our part to proceed. I think there's just a lot more information required, and that's why I'm recommending a deferral and give staff more time to address the questions that you raised. We can still have that conversation at dinner.
okay, and just so you're aware, at county council's last meeting. Motion came before council and that for us to vote on for moving forward in this. I asked for a recorded vote. I was the only one who voted against it because I did have reservations, and I made the point that I wanted to come to each of the councils and certainly our council before I could vote in favor of it at the county. They did not have any truck with that, so it got carried on through. But I want you to know that I did try to get this brought to us first so that I could make a more informed vote at the county level. Okay, so as Councillor Jablonski indicated, if it does pass through, we potentially could set up further councils with problems,
With failure, if something should go
with
wrong.
failure, should something go wrong in that. So it's not just about the money, it's about the liability and everything else. So the motion for defer is the first one, and all those in.
So if I may, Madam Mayor, just to make sure that the mover and seconder is good with the wording. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Holton, that council defer the motion to the September 8th meeting to allow staff time to research the financial commitment for the township of Frontenac Islands.
Okay, and just to be clear, we don't have a meeting scheduled in August, correct? Correct. Okay. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of defer? Carried. Thank you. Finance report, FN 008-25, statement of council remuneration and expenses 2024.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Holton, that finance report number FN 008-25, statement of council remuneration and expenses 2024 be received.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. This is just a quick report. It's a requirement under the Municipal Act to present this information to council annually, just for transparency, for the residents, in the township. Again, just going through the table, I'll quickly kind of break down, what numbers are being presented. So as you can see, it shows, remuneration, with regards to each member of council. The honorarium is the monthly amount each member of council receives, annually. The benefits would relate to benefits such as CPP or EI, training, conferences, and per diems. This is kind of grouped together. The per diems would also include any attendance at special meetings, or per diems that a member of council might receive if they attended a conference. Mileage is just any mileage claims submitted by councilors approved and paid. Other usually rates to general expense reimbursement if they incurred, for example, an expense reimbursement or an expense on the township's behalf, and then reimbursed by the township. Again, no real financial implication of the report. It's just again to provide information to the public, and counselors, okay?
Okay, any questions? Counselor Jablonski,
No questions, thank you.
Counselor Holton,
No, no questions.
Counselor Ackley,
question.
Counselor Saunders.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I have a question that the training and conferences per diem for myself. When did that occur, as well as the mileage, since I don't recall booking in any expenses.
Through Madam Mayor, I don't have the specific detail with me, for the training and conferences. I believed, and the CEO can correct me if I'm wrong, you attended Roma.
Yes, and it was paid for
Oh, sorry.
by the county.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, it was for the Good Roads Conference
Okay,
that you
that's
attended
it.
last year.
Good road.
Yes, which I think the mileage would relate to that as well.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. for
Yeah.
clarifying. Okay, thank you very much. All right,
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor to receive? Carried.
okay, now action items. The Wolf Island Commons, Wolf Island gravel grinder.
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Councillor Jablonski, that council receive the request from the Wolf Island Commons for funds to pay for either all or a portion of the insurance required to facilitate the Wolf Island gravel grinder road race to be held on September 27th, 2025. And that council approved funding in the amount of $870 from the community grant budget. And that Wolf Island Commons sign a community grant agreement to receive the funding.
Okay. Questions and discussions, Councillor Jablonski.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Did this happen last year? This first is this is an inaugural race, and they're already asking for donations and paying for their insurance. Not to my memory, but I don't think we pay anybody's insurance for any group in this town. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Through you, Madam Mayor, not to my knowledge, Justin.
Through Madam Mayor, with some of the community groups, they do request operating costs, but specifically insurance premiums, not generally, no.
Okay, so sorry, just can to clarify, it's $870 they're asking for is the cost of their insurance. Looks like.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Hilton.
I unfortunately, you know, if you want support for this, you need to come. That's why we ask everybody to come at budget time, so we can budget for these. Maybe for next year, they can plan ahead and come to budget and ask us, like the other community groups do.
Okay, Councillor Ackley,
But I'm,
Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know who makes up the Wolf Island Commons. I know it's a profit group. It would help me to understand if it's a couple of people, if it's a large group. Overall, I would be in favor of doing something like this as it's an economic advantage to the township of Marysville specifically. But I need to understand who the Wolf Islands Commons is and what their financial situation is. And I'm supportive. Councillor Holton's comment about these should come forward, so we can put a face to it, we can put an identity to who the group is. So that's why.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask the CAO, could you elaborate, or your treasurer?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and the letter that was addressed to council is signed. Just says BOD, Wolf Island Commons, but I believe the second one is that it's Julia, is it not, that we've been. Yeah. The hotel. Yeah. Sorry, I apologize, I don't know what Julie's last name is.
Okay, does that answer your question, Councillor Saunders?
No, not that.
No, not good.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Through Madam Mayor. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
wanna get to mine.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't had noticed the, need for the lighting. For the municipal board, but there was money in the reserve funds, and we made a decision on that today. there was money set aside in our budget of this year for community groups, some of which that has not been requested or distributed. So this is not negatively impacting our budget per se, because how much is currently not being claimed for the money that was set aside, and that's in the treasury?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, so the unallocated amount that was budgeted for but not distributed to groups is $1,750. I believe these two requests together surpass that a little bit, but not that much.
Okay. So just to put the budgetary fears aside, and that it is putting an additional stress on, it's actually utilizing money that we've set aside for community activities on the Wolf Island side, correct? That's the
Correct.
Wolf Island budget. Okay, that makes my thoughts on this easier, because I agree with Councillor Holton, they should have come. And I expect them to come if it's a successful outing, et cetera, and that in time for the budget for next year. But at this point in time, we have underutilized our funds that we've set aside for community support. So I personally don't have a problem with this request, and that up to the amount that we actually have budgeted. And that, because there is that secondary letter in that, so,
Through you, Madam Mayor, if I may.
yes.
Just with regards to it as well, if council were to approve, I think the expectation is that they'd still follow the same process as all the other community groups. Which would be signing an agreement, stating they're gonna use the funds as set out for the letter. And that any unused funds gets returned back to the municipality. So again, there's money available, it's the normal process is to go in front of council at budget season. But other than being a bit late in the process, all else would remain the same operationally.
Are there any permits or anything else that usually we apply to groups that are doing this? So there's no other additional costs in kind?
No, no.
Because it's the first time that we're doing this. I have no idea whether it's going to be successful. I suspect it might be.
So through you, Madam Mayor, all that we request is proof they've used the funds through receipts. And if, as long as any group can provide that documentation to the township, then, the matter is considered closed. Again, I think logistically, it's kind of the first year we kind of formalized the process. If a group didn't use all the funds and say they didn't return to the township, likely the outcome would be, I would not recommend to council that the group receives funding in future years. Just that, the funds weren't used for that purpose. But again, we don't get that involved. It's ultimately the group's responsibility how they use the funds.
So at this point in time, you recommend that this move forward?
Through your madam, I would recommend that we have room in the budget, and that it could follow the process and staff could accommodate.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thanks just for that breakdown, can't afford. My problem is, both these letters are asking for insurance. There are multiple groups on this, who we don't pay insurance for. This is not the floodgates. Well, you did it for the BOD with nobody named assigned to it. Why can't the keys for Wolf Island get subsidy? Why can't the art people get some? We're gonna open the door for a lot of people asking for money to help pay their insurance. This word's gonna end up cascading down us, that's all. A lot of people wanna have their insurance paid for, we're opening the gates here. Well, I know we have the money, it's not a lot of money. But they're gonna do it for one, we gotta have to start doing it first, for everybody who asks. That's my only concern.
Okay, are we actually dealing with both letters at this point?
No, Madam
Just the
Mayor,
first.
just the first one that you said.
Let's focus on the first one then. and then-
Yeah, I said that both of them
Yeah,
are the same Wolf
Yeah.
Island comments, I've already heard of it recently.
okay. All right, any other questions?
So,
Ken?
we're only voting on giving them money, not for insurance, for other purposes.
For the insurance, the $870 for.
So we're gonna give them money for insurance.
Yeah.
That's what we're voting for.
Yeah,
That's the one letter that we're looking at, yeah, just to be clear.
So clarity, you mentioned $872, that is for the grinder.
Yes, last line,
Which one are we working on? Are we
we're
working
working on the grinder.
6.1.
just
6 Then I would like to speak to that.
Okay,
So this is a gravel bike race. It's become extremely popular across Ontario. I was participating in a 60-kilometer one for Lennox and Addington. It was put on by Economic Development. They visited all various spots along the road, along the route, basically bringing business to those various, bringing customers to various businesses. So I think it has the potential to have a significant positive impact on businesses in Marysville and in the surrounding area around Marysville. So I think this is the kind of event, not unlike the Wolf Island. Not that, it's not the Wolf Island Owl, it's the Wolf Island race.
Wolf Island Medical Center.
Yes, so there are various events that we do that bring money and funds and people to the island, and I think this one has the potential to do that as well. So that's what we'll put that in front of council. So I would be in favor of this, to put it in.
So with that, are you suggesting that because it's an inaugural run, a startup, whereas the Wolf Island Medical Clinic has funds that they look after themselves, that this be considered for the one time at the very least? Okay,
Yeah, this is a one-time request.
this is it, but being cognizant that the medical clinic asks for operating funds, so that may well blend in there too for them.
Through
Sure.
Madam Mayor, if I could just clarify, with all the community grants, they're all technically one-time fund requests, and we make no guarantees that if we give a group money one year, we'll get the next. With regards to insurance, again, if they were in this process, it might be easier to talk to them. I know from my conversations, I basically been, if they would ask us, we basically need to have some type of expenditure with a receipt. So they might have multiple different expenditures and they might have just went with, oh, it'd be nice to have insurance covered. Just to clarify, we do cover groups. Sometimes it's specific capital projects they want to do, but we do cover operating expenses for groups, which I think insurance falls under. Again, this is all under the community grant process, which council ultimately approves every year, and no group is guaranteed funding in 1 year doesn't mean they get it in the next. So this is all one-time decisions, and doesn't mean every group can technically come and ask for insurance covered. And council will be within the right to make that decision.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Okay. Want to read it one more time?
Yeah, so just for verification, Madam Mayor, you had indicated that you would be good up to our amount.
Well, their request is for $870. We're dealing with this one first.
All right,
So,
moved by Councilor Holton, second by Councilor Jablonski, that council received a request from the Wolf Island Commons for funds to pay for either all or a portion of the insurance requirement to facilitate the Wolf Island Gravel Grinder Road Race to be held on September 27th, 2025. And that council approved funding in the amount of $870 from the community grant budget. And that the Wolf Island Commons sign a community grant agreement to receive the funding.
okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. I voted 3-2. Now we're on to the next one.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Council Ackley, that council received a request for funding assistance from the Wolf Island Commons for a contribution towards the insurance for the market on Wolf Island, and that council approved funding in the amount of $1,000 from the community grant budget, and that the Wolf Island Commons sign a community grant agreement to receive the funding.
Okay. And Councillor Jablonski.
Thanks, Mayor. You heard my argument from the previous one, so nothing changed.
Okay. Councillor Holton.
I would be the same on this. We have a community center that's fully insured. And a great spot with the one rural market there, so there is other options.
Councillor Ackley.
Does it cost to rent the community center?
Yes, I believe we passed that for us.
Yeah, I can't remember. $400.
Yeah,
Right.
they're not, there would be a fee unless we entered into an agreement.
For a longer term type
Yeah.
of reduced cost. Yeah, okay.
And they're gonna have this event where, the market?
This occurs every Saturday.
Oh, every Saturday.
It happens during the growing season, May to October, I believe. I think they mentioned it in there. Yeah, May through October and that, so every Saturday on the marina dock in front of the hotel. Yep. That being where it's on it,
No questions, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
okay. Okay, and this one is a little bit more interesting to me because the farmer's market has been well established for a fair bit of time there. And this is the very first request that they made, so to me, this actually should go into the next budget meeting. That they make the request and see whether or not we go along with it, that's my 2 cents, because it's the 4th year the market's been operating. And they didn't identify this beforehand and that. And they're a member of the Farmers Market Association, so it seems that, that's my 2 cents. Any other, discussion? Any other recommendation from the treasurer?
Through you, Madam Mayor, just before you vote, if we wanted to stick with using available funds that were budgeted. They're requesting 1,000, but after applying the 870, there would only be $880 available to approve. From what's in the budget.
Okay, given that. I will make a motion and see if anyone seconds it, that we allow for $880 from the established reserve fund for the community for this. Is there a second to it? Yep, okay,
Just for clarification, Madam Mayor, it's not the reserve fund, it's the allocated budget. amount.
allocated budget amount. For the community. Is there a second to that? Seeing none? Okay. No other motions around this? Counselor Jablonski, you seem like you're gonna say something?
No,
Nope,
just
okay.
listening here.
All right, then we'll have the vote on this, would you like to read it again, please?
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Ackley, that council received a request for funding assistance from the Wolf Island Commons for a contribution towards the insurance for the market on Wolf Island, and that council approved the funding in the amount of $1,000 from the community grant budget, and that the Wolf Island Commons signed a community grant agreement to receive the funding.
All those in favor? Defeated. Now we have Municipality of Blue Water Resolution, Strong Mayor's Power.
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from the municipality of Blue Water requesting support for motion regarding strong mayor powers be received and filed or endorsed.
Discussion, Councilor Jablonski.
Thanks, Mayor. Just clarity here, but basically, this Blue Water Council has been removed from the Strong Mayor Act. Is that how I read it properly?
My understanding is they are looking to formally request the Premier of Ontario and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing immediately remove the municipality from the list. So they are requesting support from municipalities to support their request to the Premier to have their.
To be removed from that list?
Yeah.
Oh, no questions.
Okay, Councilor Hutton.
No questions.
Councilor
Totally.
Ackley. Councilor Saunders.
I think we council should endorse this, not just receive it. I think the strong mayor power is it's anti-democratic as I see it, and we've seen lots of letters from other communities opposing it as well. So I think we should endorse it and not just receive it.
Okay, and we've seen one like this go by before and that, and we voted in support of not having strong mayor's powers and that, so I don't have a problem with it. Not only being supported, but endorsed in that, because I agree that it flies in the face of democracy.
All those in favor of endorsing the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Okay, did that require an amendment to say endorse, or did you have it all?
No, I have received and filed or endorsed,
Okay,
so,
good.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now we have the County of Prince Edward Advocacy for Federal Government Disability without Poverty.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the request received from the County of Prince Edward requesting support for motion regarding advocacy to the federal government for disability without poverty be received and filed or endorsed.
Okay. Comments, Councillor Jablonski,
No, I agree with this, I endorse this motion.
okay, Councillor Holton,
I would agree and endorse it.
okay, Councillor Ackley,
I'm with those guys.
okay, Councillor Sandry,
That's the same, I think.
okay, so.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Perfect, carried.
Oh, okay, everybody put their hand up. Yeah, that,
Sorry.
very fast. Okay. Now we're at the Howe Island Cherry Fox Run. And from Allison Hinton. Sent in a letter requesting, and informing us of the Sunday run, September the 14th, 3 route options of 5, 8, and 10 kilometers. And they're requesting that a fee required for this permit be waived. And but she had 2 different dates on here. She had September the 14th at the first paragraph, September the 15th at the second. We're not endorsing the people coming in the day late.
No, so I do have September the 14th.
Yes, yeah.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Jablonski, that council received the correspondence from Allison Hinton regarding the Howe Island Terry Fox Run scheduled on Sunday, September 14th, 2025, and that council support the Howe Island Terry Fox Run. We have no permit fees. So
Good, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
That's easy.
Carried. Now, we have Councillor Ackley's motion on the status
no,
of.
sorry, not Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
I believe it should be the ombudsman's report.
I had that
My
at
draft.
6.7. I have 6.6 as Councillor Ackley's, but did you put out a new agenda?
Well, no, sorry. No, you're right, sorry.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, back to 6.6, Councillor Ackley, a motion status of the Howe Island Fair.
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, whereas the Ministry of Transportation, MTO, retained 3GA Marine to complete a report assessing the current and future operational needs of the Howe Islander Ferry. And whereas the Township of Frontenac Island recognizes the importance of timely access to the findings and recommendations within the report to support planning and decision-making related to ferry operations and infrastructure. And whereas the continued reliance on the Howe Islander Ferry has a direct impact on transportation, emergency services, quality of life, and economic activity for residents and visitors of Howe Island. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Frontenac Islands formally requests that the Ministry of Transportation provide an update regarding the status and expected release time of the 3GA Marine report pertaining to the Howe Islander Ferry. And further that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to NPP Ted Sue, the Honorable Minister of Transportation, and the County of Frontenac for their information and support.
Okay. Discussion, Councillor Jablonski,
No discussion, thank you.
Councillor Holton,
No discussion on this one.
Councillor Ackley. Your motion,
Well, this is my motion and hopefully we can push things forward to get some action for Howe Island and some notification on what their situation they're gonna do for us. New boat, new boat, new boat.
okay, Deputy Mayor Saunders.
I would like to thank Councillor Ackley for putting this motion forward. Every, I don't know if it's pressure or not, but every indication we can give to MTO that this is important and needs to be resolved, helps. So I want to thank Councillor Ackley for putting this forward.
Okay. And yes, if we can get any communication from the ministry on any ferry, it would be wonderful news. So I have no problem with this either. All those in favor? Carried. Now we're at the ombudsman report, investigation into emails exchanged by council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Holton. Whereas the Township of Frontenac Islands has received a report from the Office of the Ontario Ombudsman, which includes findings and recommendations related to investigation into emails exchanged by council. And whereas the Township values transparency, accountability, and continuous improvement in municipal governance. And whereas the Ombudsman report includes recommendations to enhance municipal processes and compliance with applicable legislation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Frontenac Islands hereby formally receives the report of the Ontario Ombudsman. And further that council directs staff to take all necessary steps to implement the recommendations outlined in the report.
Okay. Discussion, Councillor Jablonski.
This is from last year, I guess, when we were going for that Ministry of Health meeting. Yeah, okay, this is, as we discussed this to the minds already. Unfortunately, I hope we can start putting these up in front of us and we can actually start working together for the last 18 months or 14 months left, so. Yep, to receive as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Councillor Houghton.
Yeah, I think it was a bunch of mistakes and, we've all learned from it. We haven't repeated it, so that's all I got to say.
Okay, Councillor Acker.
I don't have any comment.
And Deputy Mayor Saunders.
I just wonder, can these not be resolved internally with council as opposed to going outside of council for these kinds of things? I mean, it's just an observation.
Okay. This is a legal proceeding that because this is municipal government, we're governed by laws. So just having goodwill and avoiding things like this ahead of time is the reality, but no, once it occurs and that it's actually breaking a municipal act. So it requires an investigation. That, the good news is because it's the ombudsman, they don't charge us. So there we go. All right, so the motion is.
Motion's on the floor to receive and council direct staff to take all necessary steps to implement the recommendations outlined in the report.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Now, public question period. Is there any member of the public online or in person that wants to address any issues that have been or is on our agenda? I see no hands up online. And okay, step forward, state your name and your address for the clerk.
Sure. My name's Hal Kane, Dr. Hal Kane, and I live in Kingston, 6 Officers Lane. I just want to comment in that gravel ride that's proposed. So was involved in the LA County gravel ride that you referred to, Deputy Mayor. And it's a wonderful opportunity. I think it's really glad that you're putting that together. I also organize events, so speaking to the issue of paying insurance, and I didn't know this was coming out, so this is informational to me. I applaud you for supporting this event, even though the deadline for budget was passed, but you had budgets, because promoting cycling and cycle tourism and everything is very, very important, and Wolf Island is prime ground zero for a lot of those activities, especially if we get the Horns Ferry running, and some future, the US. So I just want to make that comment because it was, I was a little concerned because the LA County ride typically, that the other one they do is typically this will be on that date, but they're going to be September 6th. So I was pleased that there was no conflict there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, still seeing none on the screen. Oh, there's a hand. Marcel Frieders has a hand up.
No, that's the executor.
No, never mind. It was the clerk putting their hand up. Okay, so no more hands, no more comments. Now we'll get to statements by the members. Councilor Jablonski.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just want to say, we had a great 510K race last Sunday. Turned out to be quite the turnout. Kudos to the FD coming and helping us out and keeping everybody safe and sound, especially after such a trying weekend. Also kudos to the medical board clinic people. They arranged a great race. We lost one of our key organizers last year. They should retire from the committee, but we had to step up and did a heck of a good job in that race. Very minimal people were actually hurt from the heat. One heat frustration, one the little girl was tired from 5K run, but overall great success. Over 400 people ran that day. Good to the clinic, so well done by everybody who was concerned.
100 participants, wonderful. Okay, Councilor Hilton.
So, yeah, just a reminder, we do have fundraiser for our fire department, the 19th, next Saturday. And it's been a kind of trying couple weeks for volunteers. If you wouldn't mind, Madam Mayor, maybe we just ask Chief Hawkins to give a brief comment on what they've dealt with and how they dealt with it, because it was pretty impressive.
I'll indulge that.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, it was one of the most challenging weeks for the fire department that I've had the 50 years that I've been on. We had 2 drownings in less than a week. One gentleman was older, the other was an infant baby. And that just rips your heart right out. But I mean, at the time, everybody was professional, they did the job they needed to do. After that, right away, we got counseling and the guy came right over that day to talk to all the firefighters. I got a hold of Vanessa, she got me the number. And the guy said, when's the next boat? When can I get over? So he was right there and he was there for a couple hours. He talked to some people individually in the office, and right now it's still open for people to go see him privately. And it was little baby Juniper. They're from Pennsylvania.
So for me, just thanks.
Sure, I please.
I'd just like to thank all the people that showed up yesterday for our north to south baseball game. It was excellent. I'd like to say thanks to the Feeney family for supplying all the burgers and hot dogs and the drinks and all the condiments to go with it. I think it was a great turnout. I didn't see any injuries other than myself. So you know, all in all, I chose not to run over Tyler. I took the slide.
Deputy Mayor Saunders.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks. I think we forget sometimes we have the firefighters are volunteers. And when something like this happens, you really appreciate what they do, so thank you. A couple comments, if I may. Address this to Chief Quinn. There's signs going up regarding improvements to the roads coming, the contract and stuff like that. Is that gonna involve shading back shoulders? Is that gonna affect people's individual properties? And is there gonna be complaints or anything like that?
So through you, Madam Mayor, we can provide you with a tentative schedule, almost 100%. And again, we're basing it on there will be some weather conditions that'll may or may not impact. So quick answer is there will be some impact. There will be shoulder work completed July 22nd and 23rd on Howe Island. And a lot of that work was done last year, but there'll be some touching up in preparation for the pulverizing, which will occur on all 3 roads on Howe Island, commencing July 28th, July 29th, and July 30th. So I anticipate that work. And then there will be about a week between the pulverizing, where the crews will actually prepare the road surface. Gravel will be placed down and graded in preparation for the surface treatment to happen the following week, Wednesday, August the 6th, and running 6, 7, 8, and then possibly the 11th, which is a Monday. So a shorter turnaround time, but we're on the list, and that's been confirmed barring any unforeseen. That's what will happen on how. I can also comment, if you will, with respect to the wilderness.
I'm giving it leeway in that, but this is supposed to be statements. This should have been a report to council, and that really to get update us on the road construction, but since the question's been asked, and I'll allow it.
Okay, so to further answer the question as it relates to Wolf Island, pulverizing will commence on August the 12th and run for a series of 3 to 4 days. There will be a 4-week prep period starting where gravel will be laid down August the 18th. it'll commence, and then the actual surface treatment will occur on September 22nd. Give or take.
Any other statements?
No, Debbie?
No, okay. I'll tie a statement in with the announcement, and that, as mentioned before. The baseball tournament, will filing will be August 1st, 2nd, or to that great homecoming. The Fireman's Golf Tournament has been mentioned for the 19th, and ambush, I believe, is at the community center later that night for those of us that don't play golf. And I believe the funds for that go towards the firefighters as well, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a Wolf Island Music Festival on August 8th and 9th. And our AMO conference, which I'll be the only one apparently attending from this council, will be August the 16th to the 20th, where we have no delegations. July 17th, there's a community jam at St. Philomena's at 7 o'clock over on Howe Island. And Rock the Rock is on July the 19th, so in conflict with the fire department. Murphy's Law. And back to the wonderful resource that we have for firefighters here that are volunteers on both of our islands. And the response of that hard week. I'm sure you know that the community strongly supports all the firefighters, and I know that the grandfather of little Juniper was at my house the very next day giving me diapers and moist wipes that I dropped off to a women's shelter in Kingston. And he also got our mailing address to send a letter back, the sincere thing. From the payment from that. So now, notice of motion. Deputy Saunders has the motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am giving notice, I'll be bringing a motion forward, requesting council to establish a volunteer recognition program. And I'll be coming forward at the next council meeting. And I think it's particularly important, given the current situation and the examples we've had of where volunteers step forward and build a community. So that'll be coming forward in September.
Thank you very much. Now we're at announcements. Looking at that, talking about the closed session.
Yeah, but does any member of council have any announcements they wish to make before I make the motion?
In my head, if somebody has roll right in. Okay, so are there any announcements from Councillor Javon?
No.
Councillor Hall,
No, thank you.
Councillor Ackland, Councillor Saunders,
Thank you.
and I roll mine into the statements.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Councillor Ackland, that council adjourn to form council in closed session regarding Municipal Act, section 239B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Municipal Act, section 239C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Municipal Act, section 239E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or local board. Municipal Act, section 239F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. And finally, Municipal Act, section 239K, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to negotiations. Specifically with regards to a matter pertaining to negotiations involving a transportation service, a matter regarding a temporary zoning amendment application, a matter regarding an invoice related to confidential legal services concerning an employee matter, and a matter regarding receipt of legal notice and potential litigation.
Okay. All those in favor for going into closed session? Carried. Thank you very much. Yeah. I don't know how long it will last, if you really want to see the final finale.
Sure.
Okay. The glasses on, you're driving her. We return to 12:59 to open session. Bylaws, account,
One more, please, Madam Mayor, roll. Moved by Councilor Ackley, second by Councilor Jablonski, that council direct staff to proceed as instructed during the closed session in accordance with the discussions held.
all those in favor? There we go. Oh, and at this point, I should have did it within, and I presented it early to the clerk. I have pecuniary declaration of conflict of interest regarding notice of application due to Union Township. Can I give that to you?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. There we go. All right, bylaws.
The first one I have is moved by Councilor Ackley, second by Councilor Jablonski, that first and second reading be granted to bylaw 20-2025, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into shareholders agreement.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councilor Holton, that three readings and final passage be granted to bylaws 018-2025, 019-2025, and 021-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council. So 18 is the development agreement, 19 is the quit claim, and then 21 is the confirmatory. All those in favor? Carried.
Okay,
Moved by Councilor Jablonski, seconded by Councilor Ackley, that the regular meeting.
just 1 second. I'm just checking on the shareholders agreement. And when we carried, it was deferred. Correct?
It is deferred,
Okay,
yes.
just wanted to double check on that.
Sorry, moved by Councilor Jablonski, seconded by Councilor Ackley, that the regular meeting of council held July 14th, 2025, adjourned.
Okay. 101 is the adjournment time. Anybody opposed? Everybody in favor? Everybody's. Okay.